Hello, I'm Sue. Welcome to today's yoga practice. This is a 1-hour yoga practice, and today we're going to be working with the energies around our heart chakra. So looking at love, kindness, compassion, and engagement with other people. It's also the center of what is unbroken and pure in us, which is a really interesting thing, I think. So we'll be working with that. So we'll be doing a lot of chest opening and heart opening exercises tonight. To get started, just sit in easy seat, cross-legged on the floor. You might like a cushion underneath you to allow your hips to relax a little. Start to be present. Just come into your body. Let go of the things that have been happening through the day. And start to connect to your breath. The air coming in and out of your nostrils. Take a deep breath here. Inhaling through the abdomen, the chest, filling up through the shoulder cavities. And then exhaling and relaxing your shoulders down, grounding into the earth. Inhaling and getting a little bit taller, feeling your back stretching up, and exhaling, relaxing your face. Inhaling again. This time, just notice how you, from your sit bones all the way up to the crown of your head, you're stretching a little taller. And on the exhale, just notice that connection with the earth. Have your hands next to you, palms up on the floor. Inhale and stretch your arms out to the side, up overhead. And then hands come to heart center as you exhale. Inhale, stretching out again, filling up with energy. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, stretching wide out to the side. Hands up overhead, stretching your side body. And then hands together, exhaling, hands to heart center. Inhale, stretch your arms out to the side. Up overhead. And then looking to the right, over your right shoulder, left hand to the outside of your right knee, and look over your right shoulder. Inhale, stretching back up to come to center. And exhale, dropping your hands to the left, looking over your left shoulder. Inhale, stretching your arms up to center. And exhale, cactus the arms, so your upper arms parallel with the ground. Inhale, stretching up. And exhaling, dropping your right palm to the side and leaning over to the right. Left fingers point to the right, looking straight ahead. Just notice that stretch in your left side body. You might even like to look up at the ceiling slightly, just opening up your chest. And then inhale, coming back to center, arms above the head, and dropping your left hand to the side, pointing right fingers to the left. And again, opening that chest up towards the ceiling, shoulders away from the ears. Inhale, stretching back up, center, and exhale, raining your hands forward. Walk your hands forward and just have a couple of breaths here, allowing your head to fall towards the ground, chin to the chest. And notice how you can breathe through the back body, opening up the area around your heart at the back of your body rather than just thinking about the front of your body. And then inhale as you walk your hands up, stretch your hands above your head again, stretching at the side, stretching. And then exhale, sweep your hands behind you, fingers pointing away. So have your hands relatively close together, elbows and shoulders squeezed together as you look diagonally up at the ceiling. Shining your heart space upwards. Head can fall back as much as is comfortable. Breathe and expand through the chest. Feel that stretch in your front body and a back bend in your lower back. Inhale, stretch your arms out to the side, up overhead, and then exhale, hands to heart center. Cross your legs the other way. We'll do that again on the other side. Just notice how it feels. Just sitting with your legs crossed the other way and how each of the movements feels. So inhale, stretch your arms out and up overhead. Exhale and twist to the left, right hand on the outside of your left knee, left hand drops behind. And inhale, stretching your spine up towards the sky and just look a little bit further over your left shoulder. Inhale, stretch up and come back to center. And exhale, looking to the right this time. Left hand on the opposite, on the outside of your right thigh. Right hand behind you. Stretching up. And twisting a little further. Inhale, stretching up and come to center. And exhale, drop your left hand to the left side on the floor and point your right fingers to the left. Looking up towards the ceiling, shining your heart space upwards. Inhale and come back to center. And exhale, drop your right hand to the side and lean over to the right, left fingers point to the right. Shining your heart space up towards the ceiling. Shoulders away from the ears. Inhale, coming up, stretching wide, stretching up tall, and then rain your hands down in front of you. Just noticing how it feels on the opposite side of your hips and your legs. Looking down. And again, breathing into the back body. Lots of space there for our lungs and our heart. And then walk your hands back towards yourself. Bring your hands up above the head. And then exhale as you sweep them back behind you. Fingers pointing away. Looking up at the ceiling and arching your lower back. Great for people who work on computers. It's releasing and stretching the front body out. Just notice if anywhere is calling for your attention, send breath there to relax it. Inhale, sitting up, stretching your arms out and up overhead, and hands together. Exhale, hands to heart center. Should be nice and warm now. We'll get on to tabletop. So knees under the hips and wrists under the shoulders for cat-cow. Fingers splayed wide, pressing through your thumb, your little finger in particular, but all of your fingertips and knuckles. Pressing through the tops of your feet in neutral spine. And then inhale and shine your heart space forward. Opening up that area. And exhale, rounding through your upper body, pushing the earth away from you. For cat. Inhale for cow, broad through the collarbones. And exhale for cat, tucking your chin in towards your chest. Take a few more in your own time with your breath, inhaling for cow and exhaling for cat. You may like to go off the tram tracks a little bit and have your hips to one side. Move your shoulders around a little bit and then come back to tabletop. And from tabletop, just walk your hands forward until your forearms are on the earth, fingers splayed wide, and your hips should still be above your knees. And then just walk your hands a little bit further forward until you can melt your forehead to the mat. Puppy pose, like a very playful puppy, melting your heart towards the mat. So you'll feel a stretch probably in your shoulders, your arms, possibly in your back. Keep the core active, tucking your navel into the spine. And focus on your breath in this intense pose. As you melt your heart towards the earth. Inhale and walk your hands back to tabletop. And we'll thread the needle. First of all, we'll just warm up our shoulders. So inhale, stretching the right arm out to the side and then point it up towards the sky, looking at your hand. And then exhale, bring it back down under your shoulder. Left arm, inhale, stretch your left hand out to the side, up to the ceiling, and then back down under your shoulder. Threading the needle on the right side. Inhale, stretch your right hand out to the side, stretch it up to the sky. And then thread your right hand through under your left arm, palm facing the sky, and plant it on the earth. Your right arm is on the earth, right shoulder and ear are on the earth. You can stretch your left arm up to the top corner of your mat. And you might like to even put that left hand behind you, close to your right hip, to open up your heart space a little more. Take a couple of breaths here. And then return your left hand under your face. Inhale as you push up, unwind that right hand out to the side, up towards the ceiling, and then replace it back as you exhale under your shoulder. Returning to tabletop, just make sure you're all lined up. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Threading the needle on the left side. Inhale, stretch your left hand out to the side, up to the ceiling. And then exhale, thread it under your right arm, palm facing left ear to the mat, and stretch your right hand up to the top corner. Or you might like to have it bent behind you towards your left hip to open up that heart space a little more. Notice the stretch in your shoulders, in your back. And then plant your right hand under your face. Inhale and unwind your left hand out to the side, up overhead, and then back to tabletop. Wonderful. Inhale here, tuck in your toes, and then exhale into downward facing dog. paddle out your dog, walk your dog, one knee in and then the other knee in, dropping the opposite heel towards the mat, and then settle in your downward facing dog, heels disappearing behind your feet, hips up to the sky, chest and forehead tracking to the mat. Just take a couple of breaths here. You might like to shake your head out, release your neck, and just check that the folds of your elbows are shining forward. Inhale and raise your right leg up into the sky, one-legged dog. Exhale, knee to nose, rounding in the back, bringing your knee up to your nose. Inhale, right leg goes up to the sky. And then exhale, bring your right leg in, your right foot in between your hands. You might need to step it or move your hands to get there. Well done. And your right leg should be in a square, your knee above your ankle, and just look forward, keeping your left leg active. So a very low runner's lunge. It's a nice stretch for the hips. Looking forward, you might have your hands domed. You might need to kind of just spread them out a bit depending on your mechanics. And then drop your left knee to the mat. Inhale and come up into Anjaneyasana. Hands sweep forward and above the head, torso is vertical. And to assist your balance, just scissor your thighs together, pressing hard into both feet into the mat. Inhale and stretch up. Exhale and cactus the arms, squeezing your shoulder blades together. Inhale, stretching your arms up. And exhale, rain your hands forward to frame your right foot. Lean back and then straighten your right leg and slide it forward for half splits. Your toes are pointing towards your shin and your right hip is tracking back. So rather than rounding through the back, looking forward with your face broad through the collarbones. And just notice where your mind goes in this pose. Just allow those thoughts to come and go. Concentrate on your breathing. Notice the breath coming in and out of your nostrils. Inhale and lean back and return your right foot in between your hands, bending your right leg. Tuck your back toes. Exhale, push back into downward facing dog. Inhale and stretch your left leg up into the sky. Heels stretching up. Exhale, knee to nose, rounding through the upper back. Inhale, heel up to the sky. And exhale, bring your foot in between your hands. Left foot is in between your hands. Left leg is in a square. And your right leg is active, straight and active. Looking forward, low runner's lunge. Just stretching out those thighs, the hips. And then drop your right knee to the mat. Press the top of the right foot into the mat. Inhale, sweep your hands forward. Torso comes to vertical, Anjaneyasana on the left side. Tucking in the core. Tail is long. Crown is stretching up to the sky, creating space in your body. Inhale as you stretch up, and then exhale as you cactus your arms and squeeze your shoulder blades together down your back. Inhale, stretching your arms back up. And exhale, rain your hands forward so they frame your left foot. And then rock back, straighten your left leg, move your heel forward for half splits. And again, shining your heart space forward, not rolling over your leg, not rounding in the back, keeping straight. So your hips are parallel with the front of the mat. And just return your focus to your breath. Inhale and bring your left foot back in between your hands. Have your left leg in a square. And on the next exhale, push back into downward facing dog. Walk your feet towards your hands or ragdoll. So coming into a nice loose fold, bend in your knees and grab your opposite elbows with your hands and sway from side to side, straightening up one leg and then the other. Allowing the back to release, the hamstrings to stretch, the neck to relax, release. And then let the shoulders and hands go. Have them floppy on the mat. Tuck the chin into the chest and inhale, rolling up vertebrae by vertebrae. Just focusing on your back. As you come up to mountain pose, a couple of shoulder circles. And just standing in mountain pose for a moment. Allowing the crown of your head to stretch up towards the sky. Your tail to point to the earth. And the four corners of each foot to connect to the earth. Feel the breadth across your shoulders. Inhale and stretch your arms out to the side, up overhead. And exhale, cactus your arms, squeezing your shoulder blades together. Inhale and stretch your arms up. Exhale, look to the right and stretch your left hand forward, right hand back. Inhale, stretching up, come to center. And exhale, looking to the left, right hand points forward, left hand points back behind you. Inhale, pointing your hands up to the sky, coming back to center. And exhale, sweep your hands behind you so that your hands are in the small of your back with your fingers pointing downwards. So you've got your hands into the small of your back. And then you are going to inhale and just lean into your hands. As you look up at the ceiling, your hips come forward for a small back bend. Heart shining up to the sky. Take a breath here. And then inhale, stretch your arms out to the side, up overhead, and come back to mountain pose. Now we're going to do a series of movements and breath together called Breath of Joy. So just have your feet either hip width apart or a little bit closer together. So we're starting in mountain pose and we'll do the breathing first. And then we will do the arms and the breathing together. So the breathing is in three parts. So we always talk about the abdomen, the chest, and the shoulders. So what we're going to be doing in the breath is actually filling up in those stages and then sighing it out through an open mouth. So the first part is the breath. So it's like 3 sniffs in and 1 long sigh out. So inhaling and filling up through the abdomen, and then through the chest, and then across the shoulders, filling right up. And then opening our mouths, and sighing it out. We'll do that one more time. Inhaling abdomen, chest, and then shoulders. And then opening the mouth and sighing it out. And then we'll put the hands with it. So I'll show you the hands first so that we don't all get confused halfway through and we can't see what's happening. So when we fill up with the abdomen, the hands come up straight in front of us so they're parallel with the ground. And then when we're filling up with the chest, they go out to the side. Shoulders, they go up overhead. And then the bit where it gets complicated is on the sigh out, you rain your hands forward like you're going into a forward fold. And then you swoop your hands behind you. You can either have them just clasped and pointing backwards, clasping your elbows, or if you like, you can actually have them sort of pointing straight up for the sigh. And then it carries on again, starting with the abdomen breath, chest, up to the shoulders, and then sighing out. Okay, breath of joy, here we go. Just do a regular breath first, inhaling and exhaling out. Okay, inhaling abdomen, hands up, shoulder width. Inhaling chest, inhaling, filling up the shoulders, and then exhaling, raining forward, hands behind with sigh out. Inhaling chest, forward. Inhaling, chest expands. Inhaling, filling up the shoulders. Exhaling, swooping forward, hands behind the back. Inhaling, hands at shoulder height. Inhaling, hands out to the side. Inhaling, hands above the head. And exhaling, swooping down. Change your clasp if you can, and hands behind you. Twice more. Inhaling, arms parallel with the floor. Inhaling out to the side. Inhaling, hands above the head. Exhaling, hands behind us. Inhaling, hands are parallel with the ground. Inhaling, arms out to the side. Inhaling, hands overhead. Exhaling, sighing it out. Inhaling, arms parallel with the floor. Arms out to the side, inhaling. Inhaling above the head. And exhaling, hands shining up to the sky. Inhaling and just coming up back to mountain pose. Just close your eyes and notice how you feel. So that breath of joy is meant to be an uplifting and energizing breath, pranayama practice that you can do when you're feeling lethargic or flat, just to get everything moving, getting the energies in your body moving in a different way. It's really useful, I think. Hope that's feeling good in your body and you're nice and warm. Coming to the front of your mat, we'll do sun salutation A with modifications as usual. Standing in mountain pose, nice and tall. Inhaling, spread your arms out to the side, up overhead, and then rain them down for forward fold. Inhaling for halfway lift, nice straight back, parallel with the floor, and exhale, forward fold, hands next to your feet. Come back into dog pose. And then inhale, put your knees onto the floor. Exhale, come into supported plank. So your shoulders are over your wrists. And just stay here for a moment. Just activate through the core, through the buttocks. Inhale and then exhale, elbows into the ribs and slowly come down onto your mat all the way. Forehead's on the mat, hands are under your shoulders or a little further back. Pressing into the tops of your feet so your knees are off the mat. Inhale and come into Cobra. And exhale, coming back down. We'll do that one more time. Inhaling, coming into Cobra. Just holding it for a moment, a couple of breaths. Shoulders away from the ears. And on your next exhale, come back down. Inhale and push up into tabletop. Tuck your toes and exhale, downward facing dog. Walk your hands towards your feet. Ragdoll, swaying from side to side. Then inhale and come up vertebrae by vertebrae. Wonderful. Standing at the top of your mat for Sun Salutation B. We're going to do it with warrior poses today, warrior one poses. Inhale, stretch your arms out to the side, up overhead. Exhale, rain your hands down, frame your feet, and then come back into dog pose. Inhale and raise your right leg above, right leg up. Hips stay parallel with the mat. And exhale, bring your knee in towards your chest, your nose, and then in between your hands. So your right leg is in between your hands in a square, knee over ankle. Your left foot is at 60 degrees. Inhale and hover your torso over your knee, hands pointing back by your hips. Exhale here. And then inhale, sweep your hands forward and up overhead for warrior one. So your right hip is tracking back. Your left ribs are tracking forward. Active in the back leg, grounding that left heel into the earth. And as you inhale, just feel that space that you're creating in your upper ribs. And on the exhale, just notice your connection to the earth through your feet, through your hips. Inhale, stretch up, and exhale, cactus the arms. Inhale, stretching up. And exhale, sweep your hands behind your back and clasp your fingers together, your hands together. Inhale, look up at the ceiling, slight back bend. And then exhale, slowly come down, remembering to just keep your base in your feet. Have your torso tracking just to the left of your right knee. And your hands pointing towards the back of your mat for humble warrior. If balance is tricky, just make your legs further apart on the width of the mat. And breathe here. Try and tuck in your right hip. And your right torso is to the right, the torso is to the right of your right thigh, not lying on it. Inhale, come back up and release your hands. Have your hands up above you, back to warrior one. And then on the next exhale, rain them down in front of you, about a foot's length in front of your right foot. Spread your hands firmly on the mat, and then step your left foot forward a little bit. You've still got a bend in your right knee. And then raise your left leg up so it's parallel with the mat and straighten your right leg for standing L. Just allow yourself to balance here. You might like to take your right hand off the mat and wrap it around your right calf, if you're comfortable doing that. Stretching back through the left leg. Left toes point towards the mat, left knee is left heel is pointing back. If you had it around your calf, replace your right hand on the mat. Inhale and exhale, drop your right leg back and come back up to warrior one. Well done. Inhale, stretching up. Exhale, rain your hands down. Turn your left foot so it's pointing the front of the mat. Inhale and push back into downward facing dog. Stretch out in your downward facing dog. And then inhale, have your knees come onto the floor over into supported plank. Tuck your elbows in by your ribs, come down onto your mat through chaturanga. Pressing into the tops of your feet. Inhale and come into cobra. And exhale, coming down. Inhale, pressing up into tabletop. Tuck your toes in and come back into downward facing dog. Walk your feet towards your hands for forward fold. Inhale for halfway lift. Exhale for forward fold. And then come all the way up, spreading your hands right out, arms right out to the side, up overhead. And then hands to heart center. As you exhale, mountain pose. Now do sun salutation B on left side. Inhale, stretching your hands out to the side, up overhead. Rain your hands down, bending at the hips for forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Nice straight back. Exhale for forward fold. Plant your hands either side of your feet and come back into downward facing dog. Inhale and raise your left leg up into the sky, toes pointing down. Exhale, bring the knee forward through your chest and up in between your hands, and have your left leg in a square. Your right foot is planted on the ground at about 60 degrees. Inhale and hover your torso over your thigh, hands pointing backwards by your hips. And exhale here. Inhale and come up to vertical, hands above the head. Stretching up through the side body. So I'm anchoring through my back heel and the outside of my left foot. Tracking the left hip back and the right ribs forward. Tucking in the navel to protect the back. Inhale, stretch your arms up. Feel the space that you're creating. And exhale, cactus the arms. Feel yourself grounding into the earth. Inhale, stretch your hands up. And exhale, sweep your hands behind your back, opposite clasp. Behind your back, stretching down towards the earth. Inhale and look up at the ceiling. And exhale, slowly lower your torso to the inside of your left thigh. Hands pointing towards the back of your mat. Humble warrior on the left side. Inhale, coming back up and into warrior one. Arms above your head, palms facing. As you exhale, feel yourself grounding into the earth. Eyes active. Inhale, stretch your arms up a bit further, and then exhale, rain them down about a foot length in front of your left foot. Step your right foot forward a little, and then come into a standing L on the left side. Straighten your left leg. Your right leg points parallel to the ground, heel pointing backwards, toes towards the ground. Stay here if that's comfortable, or you might like to wrap your left arm around your left shin for a bit of a balance. Look towards the back of your mat, relaxing your head. Really focus on that right heel pushing back to create the balance. And then if you had moved it, put your left hand back on the mat. Inhale, on the exhale, come back into warrior one. So planting your right foot back down, sweeping your hands forward and coming back into warrior one. Inhale, stretch up, and exhale, rain your hands down to frame your left foot. Come back into dog pose, exhale. Inhale, come into supported plank, shoulders over your wrists, and exhale, lowering down, elbows into the ribs, onto your mat. Pressing into the tops of your feet, so your thighs are active. Inhale, peel your head and shoulders off the mat for cobra. Roll through the collarbones. And then exhale, coming back down to the mat. Inhale, pushing up into tabletop, tucking the toes, and exhale into downward facing dog. This time, walk your hands towards your feet. For forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale for forward fold. And then inhale, coming up all the way, hands out to the side, up overhead, then palms together. Exhale, hands to heart center. Good work. And now we'll do some work on the mat. So coming down to sitting on the mat in Dandasana. So legs out in front of you, toes pointing to the ceiling or your shins, grounding through your sit bones, and tall through your spine, active through the core, and again feeling that width across the heart space, the chest and the heart space. Shoulders away from the ears, shoulder blades squeezed together. Inhale, stretch your arms out to the side, up overhead. And then exhale, sweeping them behind you, pointing your fingers backwards. A little bit like we did in Sukhasana at the beginning, squeezing your shoulder blades together and looking up at the ceiling. Allowing the space around your chest and heart to open up. Connecting with that which is unbroken within us. And then on your next inhale, come back up to seating, hands out at the side, up overhead, and palms to heart center as you exhale. Now come onto your knees, and we'll do a couple of versions of Camel. So we're going to be on our knees, with our knees together, thighs together, feet together. And for the first exercise, we have our toes flat on the mat, feet are flat on the mat. So we're going to come into Camel. So inhale, raise your arms so they're parallel with the mat in front of you. And exhale, just lean backwards about 30 degrees. So you're keeping your torso nice and taut, active through the core, long through the tailbone, and you're tucking your chin a little bit towards your chest to get length in your back. So you'll feel it through your hips and in the front of your legs. It's called the zombie camel. Shoulders away from the ears. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Inhale and come back up. Might like to just shake your legs out a little bit. Oops. And we'll do that one more time. So knees are together, thighs firmly together, feet together. Inhale, raising arms up to parallel with the ground. And exhale, leaning back, pressing through the feet, active in the core. So knitting your ribs together, shoulders away from the ears. Inhale and come back to vertical. So this time, just tuck your toes in. Inhale, stretch your arms out to the side, up overhead, and then swoop them behind you, fingers pointing down into the small of your back. Inhale, and then stretch up, looking towards the ceiling, and then again, stretching back, but our hips come forward. Shoulder blades squeezing together, elbows squeezing together. Modified camel. Inhale, coming up. Leave your hands where they are. I'll try that again. So just make sure you've got your toes tucked in, so your heels are sticking up. So inhale, going back. Looking up at the ceiling, hips forward. And you might like to try with one hand to drop your hand down towards your heel and see if you can catch your heel. It's a bit of an experiment with one hand and then the other, or you might be able to do it with both. Keep looking up, straight up at the ceiling. And then bring your hands back to the small of your back. Then inhale and come back up. Okay, come into tabletop and then into child's pose. So legs either together or out as wide as the mat with your toes touching. Your chest is either on your mat or on your knees, or your thighs, and your hands are tucked behind you or out in front, whichever is most comfortable. So just connect here with your breath. Notice your back body, the width in your back body. As you take a few deep breaths after the camel pose. Then come up onto all fours, tabletop, and then just swing your legs to one side and come back down onto the mat. So legs are out in front of you. Your head is on the mat. Bring your heels behind your buttocks, flat on the mat, feet flat on the mat. For a bridge pose, just make sure that your chin is tucked slightly in so that your neck is long. Your hands are next to you, palms down, next to your hips. And just roll to the left and tuck your right shoulder blade under a little closer to the center line. Roll to the right and tuck your left shoulder blade closer to the center line. Just exhale. And on your next inhale, push through your heels, raise your hips up towards the sky, pressing through the top of your head, your arms, your shoulders, and stretching across your chest. With each inhale, just focus on your chest and the expansion there. Inhale deeply, and on your next exhale, bring your back to the mat, vertebrae by vertebrae, taking time to connect and think about your back and where it is in relation to the mat. I'll do that again. So just make sure your shoulder blades are still tucked under. Hands are close into your hips. And your feet are hip width apart. Inhale, pushing up through the hips. Looking straight up at the ceiling. And this time you might like to clasp your hands together. Squeeze your shoulder blades a little bit closer together as your hips go up to the sky. And again, breathing deeply through the chest. Pushing your hips up further, long in the tail. Releasing the hands and slowly coming back down to the mat. And just release your shoulder blades from under your body. Keeping your knees bent, have your right ankle over your left thigh and have your right knee dropping out towards the right. And bring up your left thigh so you can thread your hands behind your left thigh for figure of four, lying down, supine figure of four. Have your head on the mat, but bring your knee, your left knee towards you. You might be able to use your right elbow to push your right knee out to the side to give it a little more stretch through your hips and glutes. Bring your left leg back to the mat, left foot back to the mat. Crossing your right leg tightly over your left leg, roll both legs to the right. Spread out your arms and look towards your left hand. Make sure both shoulders stay on the mat. Inhale and come back to center. I'll do figure of four on the other side. So your right foot is on the mat, your left ankle is over your right thigh, and you're threading your hands behind your right thigh, pulling your right knee towards you as your left elbow coaxes your left knee outwards. Figure of four on the right side. Returning your right foot to the mat, cross your left leg over the right, nice tight cross, and then drop both legs to the left, spreading out your arms and this time looking towards your right hand. Inhale and come back to center. Squeeze both legs in towards your chest, clasping your hands across your shins and roll from side to side. And then take any last adjustments you need before Shavasana Relaxation. So stretching out both legs, feet falling to the side. Have your hands next to you, palms up. And just imagine each part of your body relaxing. Feet and ankles, relax. Calves and knees, relax. Thighs and hips, relax. Buttocks, relax. Hands and wrists, relax. Forearms and elbows, relax. Upper arms and shoulders, relax. Abdomen relaxes down. Chest, heart, and lungs, relax. Shoulders and throat, relax. Tongue relaxes. Draw your lips back from your teeth. And then have them in a gentle smile. Raise your eyebrows and stretch your scalp. And then relax them down. Eyes are soft. The skin on your face is gentle. And as the body relaxes, so the mind follows. Stillness. And when you're ready, introduce some gentle movement to your hands, your feet. You might like to stretch long, stretch your legs out, stretch your arms overhead. And then curl up into a tight ball and roll over to one side. Just stay there for a couple of breaths, allowing all the good work you've done to integrate. And when you're ready, come up into sitting, just as we started in Sukhasana, easy seat. Inhale. On the exhale, bring your hands to heart center. We bow our thinking minds to our loving hearts in gratitude for practice today, in gratitude for our center, our unbroken center, the source of love, compassion, and kindness to all, and in gratitude for nature itself. Be well. Namaste.